Playwrights set out to write plays in different ways. Um, some people start at the very beginning and write from the beginning forward. Some playwrights imagine a climax and then build the play around that climax. How do I create that sequence of events that leads up to this climax? And then they structure the play there. Some playwrights write with a pen, and they write their plays longhand to this day. Um, August Wilson, African American playwright that we'll talk about when we start talking about 20th century theater, used a typewriter originally. I'm sure he stepped up to a keyboard eventually, but early on he typed his plays on a typewriter with regular paper. Um, whatever format you use, um, playwrights sometimes take a long time to write a play, depending on the scope of the play, the amount of information that they are trying to cover. Um, it could take years. Some playwrights are able to get the plays out very quickly. Um, that takes skill and a real true understanding of your subject. Um, um, no matter how long it takes, the process is something that is solitary at first. In some cases, playwrights close themselves off and write the play. They have it in their heads. They know what I want to write, and I'm going to write it. Sometimes playwrights are fortunate enough to be able to work with actors as they are writing the play. They can actually present to a group of actors a scenario, an idea. Um, this is what I want to see happening in this particular scene. And the actors can improvise. If the playwright gives them their characters and explains the circumstances, they can improvise. And from those improvisations, the playwright can actually draw dialogue or at least inspiration for dialogue. However, the process works, the playwright will write the play and get it to a point where they feel that it's finished. The best thing for the playwright to do at this point, if the playwright's been working alone, is to give that play to a group of actors. Ask them to read it so the playwright can hear it. Because for as long as they have been writing the play, the language, the dialogue has been right here. And the challenge for a playwright, of course, when creating dialogue is to make sure the dialogue comes from different points of view. These are different people. You don't want them to speak of one, from one mind. So hearing the play read aloud helps the playwright. The playwright might hear it and say, great, that's exactly what I want. That's what I wanted to say. Um, Chances are, however, they're going to hear it and realize that some changes can be made, and they're going to set about doing that. And they're going to do some rewrites, and then they'll bring their actor friends back in and have them read it again. However long the process takes, eventually the playwright is going to get to the point where he says, I think I'm done. The next step, of course, is to protect your property. You have written a play, it's yours. Figure out a way how to copyright it. Um, there are ways to do it, but it is your intellectual property. So make sure it's yours. It's just like a song. You don't want anybody to take your play, even though someone may have written about the same subject. This version, this telling of the story belongs to you. So find a way to protect it. What happens next? You want your play to be seen. You want your play to be read. So you submit your play. You send your play out. You find theaters across the country, across the world, who find theaters that produce plays that are similar to the play that you wrote, or in the same style or vein, or uh, um, play theaters. For example, if you write plays for children, find children's theaters and send your plays to them. You can enter your plays in playwriting festivals. If the your play uh, wins the festival, usually the theater who is sponsoring the festival will give the playwright an opportunity for a production. You can actually have a production of the play. Um, However, your goal, of course, is to make sure that the play is seen. People see the play, hopefully, they respond in a positive way. Eventually, fingers crossed, someone is going to see the play and offer to add that play to a catalog, a list of plays. A publisher could be interested in your play and adding your play to their catalog of plays. This is how theaters find plays and playwrights, because every theater has to decide on a season of plays, or to select a play to produce. Um, and they have to find them somewhere. Publishers will feature plays in their catalog, and there are different publishers. There are music in this country. Uh, there are publishing houses that usually list non-musical plays, plays that are comedies or dramas. There are some publishers that are strictly musicals. If your theater is looking to do a musical, then you will look in this catalog. If you're looking to do a straight play, you will look in this catalog. There is a crossover, but that publisher acts as your representative. And if I am the director of a theater and I'm looking for a play, and I look in this publishing house's catalog and I see a play that I want to produce at my theater, I have to make arrangements with that publisher. I have to pay what are known as royalties. Every time I perform the play, for every performance, I have to pay a certain amount. Of that royalty fee that is figured out by the publisher, the playwright will get a percentage. This is how playwrights make money. Um, and there are some plays, for example, plays that have um, been around for a long time, that are still connected with a publisher. Uh, some plays, for example, the works of William Shakespeare, those plays are not handled by a publisher. Those are public domain. I can produce, uh, and direct Macbeth without having to pay royalties, because it was written in the 17th century. So that long ago, I don't have to worry about paying, royalties for it. But newer plays royalties are attached and you have to pay for them. I like to use very quickly the example of a play called The Best Christmas Pageant Ever. It is probably one of the most popular Christmas plays in the world. Every year, hundreds of theaters across this country produce that play. And every theater, depending on their producing status, pays a royalty. So the play was written by a woman named Barbara Robinson, and it's been around since the 1970s. I can imagine that every year, just probably around February or so, the royalty payment or the percentage that that playwright gets from that overwhelming number of theaters producing her play should be pretty substantial. But that, in a nutshell, is how playwrights make money. I'll be back.